3, 2, 1. Welcome to the podcast.
Yes, I'm Jen.
And I'm Trent.
And today we are talking about when you should save versus when you should splurge in your home, for items in your home.
Hot topic, hot topic.
It is a hot topic. Well, money is always a hot topic. Anytime that you are discussing that, it usually brings up one emotion or another. So the idea is when you are making over your home, when you are purchasing home items, when is the best time to save? When is the best time to splurge? And also kind of the motives behind why you should really factor this in, this element in when you are making those decisions.
Let's maybe define the terms.
Okay.
Saving, I think we know what that means.
Right.
Saving your money, saving time, saving heartache.
Yes.
Saving, future issues. But really, savings in this case would be saving money.
Yes.
Instead of buying money. Splurge sometimes has a bit of a negative connotation because it's just splurging for the sake of buying something, but we also mean it in a way of when it's time to buy a nicer item, not just because you want it, but because that would be the better investment. So those are sort of the ranges of terms there.
Okay, well, so then let's start with when to save versus when to splurge.
Okay.
You want to start with splurge. Let's start with splurge.
Splurge, okay.
All right.
Hitting the splurge hard.
Well, okay, the example that I am thinking of, we bought couches when we were living in Tennessee. We bought 2 couches. We went to a great company. They sat us down and let us walk all around the store.
Tried them all out.
Yeah. And we even brought the boys with us. They sat down on the couch in the store. They were comfortable and they were affordable. I think we got 2 huge couches for, it was maybe $1,100-$1,200. But what happened 2 years later?
Yeah, we needed new couches already.
They were horrible.
They just didn't hold up.
They weren't comfortable and they were miserable. I refused to sit in the couch. So lesson learned in that is we actually probably should have splurged on a nicer piece of furniture that's higher quality. So we did. We replaced those couches with our sectional down in our basement, and it's been a huge difference.
A big difference.
Yes.
So that would be an example where splurge really means invest.
Right.
Rather than just, I needed a new color couch.
Yes.
And so therefore I bought it because I just had to have that color.
Okay, what are some other things that you think that are what's worth the splurge?
I think certain tools are worth the splurge.
Yeah. Our life changed when you got that table saw.
Yeah. So we did almost, but we have done the majority of our home improvements without a table saw.
Right. We had a miter saw. We had a circular saw.
We had a lot of hand tools.
Yes.
And then one miter saw. And it got everything done. But there were so many times where we were just like, gosh, we really need a table saw to make this even better. And we resisted and resisted and resisted because we were trying to save and we didn't want to spend.
Well, and it's a big ticket item. And we didn't buy the most expensive brand. We bought kind of mid-range. We didn't buy the cheapest. We bought mid-range. Yeah. But when I remember the first project that we did, I think it was the doors in the boys' bathroom. The first project that we did, we were like, oh my gosh,
how did we do this?
We should have bought this a long time ago.
So the right tool is certainly a reason to splurge.
Yes. Okay, well, I've got another one.
Okay.
I think that it is worth the splurge on mattresses. I think that is where, you spend the majority of your daytime. If you factor in the 24-hour period, the majority of that time is spent on that bed. So I think pillows, mattresses, stuff like that, even possibly sheets, those are worth the investment for your comfort because sleep is so important just to have you function.
That's right. I agree with that. 100%.
Yeah. Maybe something else, pots and pans.
Oh, yes. That's something recently. Last Christmas, I think we upgraded our pots, specifically a frying pan, and I thought, oh, look at this one. This one's cheap, but it's got a real nice inside, and it's some of that crazy technology, maybe a little copper.
Yeah.
It's the fancy new thing.
Yes.
And it didn't last. Didn't even last a year.
How many frying pans have we gone through because they were affordable?
Yeah.
I mean, I think in the last decade, we've at least gone through 6 of them. Whereas if we just would have bought the right frying pan the first time, it could have lasted that whole time. Longer.
And we still have pots and pans from the early days of marriage, and they still are working.
That's right.
And here they are 25 years later, and they still look great. And
it's 26 years later. I mean, it's like you don't even know how long
I should have looked at the show notes before to know exactly how long I've been married.
Okay, so let's talk about checking your heart on this. So when is splurging or spending, how can that become a problem?
Well, I say it's kind of reviewing your motives. You said check your heart. And I think just more specifically, it's what's your motive to purchase this next thing?
Yeah.
Is it, again, like the couch? Oh, I just need a new color. Nothing wrong with your couch. It's comfortable. It still looks good. But, I just want it to be red now, you know. And then you'd have to go, well, but if that's not in the budget and there's other things you need that are more important, you should probably not splurge on that item.
Yeah. I think the other thing is, if it causes you to be sneaky or hide something, I mean, that the joke going around is, you become friends with the delivery man so that they'll hide the packages from your husband. So it's like, okay, that's funny, but if it is a reality,
is this confession time? No. Are you hiding packages from your husband?
Only birthday and Christmas presents for you.
Okay. All right.
No, but I think that
I'm going to start looking under stuff. You know how in the other podcasts I mentioned I don't even notice when the rooms are rearranged because it happens so often. There's probably Amazon packages underneath the cushions.
Yeah, even though that you have access to the entire Amazon account and all the checking account to see.
You've got
everything.
A rogue account somewhere.
I don't think so. But I think that is something to think about. Are you buying too much? Because the number one cause of marital strife are finances. So if your spending is causing a wedge in your family, and it doesn't, even if you are single or if you're a single parent and you're buying stuff for your home or something that is not contributing to what you actually need, which is shelter and food. And
take care of those things first.
Exactly. Exactly.
But when you do need something that will enhance your life and your experience, and we're obviously talking DIY projects, which don't take priority over your family.
No.
But if you need to repair something, the right tool is paramount. And we have used the wrong tools before, or the cheaper tool. It just doesn't.
And it didn't get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it gets the job done, but it was so much harder.
Yeah.
And I mean, how many times I've been back to the store to replace that tool because something happened, and then, it's all of that stuff. So,
well, and I think something else, we are in the season of time being a precious commodity. So with time being something that I am clinging to desperately because I just feel like Stretch Armstrong. Do you remember the Stretch Armstrong doll?
Yeah.
You could spread.
I cut it open to see what was inside it.
What was inside it?
Just some goo.
Okay.
Some kind of witch's blue goo. Yeah, I don't know how they did it, but it was goo.
Well, that's kind of how I'm feeling right now, just like being pulled in all different kinds of directions. So if it is worth the investment, that's actually going to make your life more functional and actually quality time spent versus wasting time because you're cheaping out on a tool or a pot or a pan or whatever it may be.
That's right. I have a confession to make.
Oh, no. Here we go.
You know, we're talking about hiding packages.
Okay.
I ordered a Stretch Armstrong, and I didn't tell you. No, I didn't. I would have totally told you. I just ordered a Stretch Armstrong. You know, yes. And then I'd be like, you hold the other end. Come on.
Okay. So now let's go to the other end.
Okay.
Because saving is great. Saving is good. It's a wise thing to do, but there also can be a negative connotation.
Yeah, there is.
To saving as well.
How is that possible? That you could be, there'd be a negative to savings?
I think that you can become so frugal and such a penny pincher that it takes the joy out of everyday life.
Sucks the fun right out of it.
Well, and I think that if you're only thinking about, I have to save, but you never go on a vacation, you never treat your family to a night out or a movie or something that is experiential.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are saving so much that you miss out on a world of experience, then I think that that's a detriment, because I think that we are to live in this world in order to enjoy it and experience. You don't want to splurge and spend too much, but you also don't want to save so much that you miss those experiences. Yeah. So I truly feel like it's all about finding that balance.
Well, so you're kind of touching on a thing that I've been thinking a lot about lately, which is finding idols in your life.
Oh.
And that's been tough because sometimes we find that things we hold kind of dear to us can be idols in our life. One example for me recently with my heart surgery was food.
Yeah.
Learning how much emphasis I would or how much emphasis I would give to food.
Yeah.
And how good food, good mood.
Yeah.
You know, and all of those things, and really learning that my day was spent a lot of times going, what are we eating? What are we eating for lunch? What are we eating for dinner? Now there's practical questions like, hey, what are we having for dinner? So I know what to either buy from the store.
Or defrost.
So you got to know, but it was like, you know.
Well, and I think also I was such the thrifty food shopper that on this side of things, after open heart surgery, I wish that I would have invested in better food, better ingredients, because I was willing to compromise the quality of the food that was more processed, which then was ultimately unhealthy.
That's right.
So
you're saying the idol works the other way too.
It can.
Well,
especially the other day when I'm holding the chicken mini and I'm crying for 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast there. Have you ever cried holding a chicken mini?
It was the summation of everything that you had gone through. It just was the perfect little package. And here the nutritionist was kind of telling us, you all need to relax a little bit. Yeah. You were, way too crazy before, and now you've swung way too far the other side. So you need to relax. And so we were trying to find balance, and you thought, okay, well, here we're eating a healthy breakfast, but let's splurge on this one little tiny fried nugget.
Yeah, the chicken mini became the Brussels sprout. It was like, I can't do it. I can't eat it. And you're like holding it like this.
I couldn't eat it.
Yeah.
It was too difficult for me emotionally to eat. Yeah. So I think that that's all about that balance. So I don't want to be that person who you can't live. So if you're also applying that to saving versus splurging, it's that same thing. Right. You can't go from one extreme to the other. Right. Because you can't actually enjoy life.
Well, yeah. So to bring it back around a little bit, you say you see somebody driving a brand new car. Right. You don't need a brand new car.
No.
You can get a used car, and a very good used car, and it lasts you a long time. So you don't. So if you're looking at it as just the new car, and that's all you're focused on, then that could be an evidence of an idol there. Yeah. But then, like you're saying too, you can swing it all the other. And if you're only looking at savings as the only goal ever,
then savings is the idol.
That could become an idol as well. So it's balance.
It is.
What am I juggling?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
A
2x4. There's like an imaginary 2x4, and it's like a seesaw.
Well, see, I was thinking a Slinky.
Ooh, Slinky toy. Hey, Stretch Armstrong and Slinky, my next two Amazon orders. I'm going to hide.
Okay, so let's talk about saving.
Yep.
So when is it a good time to save for items for home decor?
Right behind you, as an example.
Oh,
this lamp.
My lamp. I just did the lamp. Well, I also did that the dresser behind.
So you did a blog post about the lamp.
And a video.
I
can put the link up
in one of these areas somewhere in the zone.
To the video, you could check that out. But basically, I was looking at all of those urn lamps that, I mean, I was pricing them. There was one priced for like over $1,000 for a lamp.
Who, besides Gene Simmons, is buying $1,000 lamp?
Probably other celebrities. But, you know.
All my examples are always if Gene Simmons would do it.
Don't think that's a good
probably a terrible role model
to go by.
I'm going to rethink my
I think you should.
Celebrity Apprentice. But yeah, I mean, so don't buy $1,000 lamp.
No. So I got that lamp at a yard sale, I think for $5. And then I used baking soda and acrylic paint and I updated it.
It was $800 baking soda. So I don't know how you saved it even. What if you did buy $800 gold encrusted Arm & Hammer?
Well, I think that so you can mimic stuff and get better deals. So that's a way that you can save. Mm-hmm. I think another place that you should save are like on trendy decor items. So, for instance, the stone urn lamps are hot right now, and they have been for the last few years, but pretty soon we could go back to a totally different style.
Brass sticks again.
There you go.
Skinny things, you know.
But, you know, here you've spent all this money on a lamp when you could have bought, because I found when I was doing the lamp post, I found other lamps that were similar to the ones that were the high items that were $200 and above. I was able to find them for $60, $70. So even,
I mean, $200 for a lamp seems outrageous to me.
Well, $60 on a lamp seems outrageous to me, but I know that that's the average price.
I mean, that's more reasonable though.
Way more reasonable.
But if you've got an old lamp and you got some paint laying around,
right?
I mean, then it's done.
Yeah.
And then that bulk of money that you were going to spend or splurge, let's say, on a lamp, you can put that into something that's more important.
Right.
Like a tool.
Well,
and that's not just a dude saying it, because obviously dudes love more tools. But you've seen the difference in having something nice in your hands to get the job done in a more efficient and confident manner.
Speaking of tools, one thing that I think is worth totally buying cheapy are things like paintbrushes and paint rollers.
Yeah.
I mean, I know if you are like
I think you probably pushed some buttons.
I might have pushed some buttons because I know that there are people who are like, I only like this one brush and I will rinse it and I am a poor
cleaner of brushes.
I am. Yeah. And I would much rather go and buy another $4 or $5 cut-in brush.
They're making better, cheaper brushes now.
They are.
Yeah.
Well, and then you've got places like Harbor Freight where you can buy tools that are pretty decent tools. They're not, totally horrible. So, I mean, I think that there are areas where you can save on tools where you don't have to splurge on the, high-ticket tool. But I think if it's a power tool, I think it's worth buying quality. I mean, not necessarily the highest quality, but I just think...
Not everything has to be yellow, the color yellow.
Right.
If you know what I'm saying.
Or red.
Well, but yellow is sort of the...
Is that the top of the line?
De facto standard.
Okay.
Yeah. Yellow and black.
All right. Well, so going back to spending, what are some things that are worth saving on? So I think in home decor, like, so anything trendy, go to the Target dollar spot or go to like even stores like Hobby Lobby, where every other week they will mark things down 50% off. So if you are going to Hobby Lobby, by the way, this is a trick. If you're going to Hobby Lobby 1 week, say if you're going for pillows or whatever, a tabletop decor, If it's not on sale that week, the next week, it'll be 50% off. And they go back and forth every other week. So if you just went on the...
that gives you time to think about, do you really need it? Because then, true. A week passes and you go, you know what? I don't really need that metal Millennium Falcon to hang on the wall. Life-size Millennium Falcon
I would not let you hang that in my home. We've already got a room dedicated to an entire band.
That's true.
So
that's true.
Okay, so something else that I think is worth saving, like buying more affordable stuff, are seasonal decor items. Like, so for holidays, you know, new trends come every single year. So, you know, I will go a lot of times after the season and get the really deep discounted items, except for, I think, Christmas trees and garland. We have bought the cheapy Christmas trees, and then this last year we actually invested in a better tree, and it did make a big difference.
Yeah, it did. It did. I was going to say, because I'm looking at some fake plants and things over there. You know, if you're going to go for some fake plants, I mean, I've seen some pretty bad looking fake trees, you know, with that sort of green leaf that, you know, I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Kind of looks like they painted it with turf paint or something. So it's not really realistic at all. I mean, in that case, you could buy a really nice fake plant and use it forever.
That's right.
You know, and it'll always look good. But, you know, one day you're going to look at that terrible, cheap fake plant and go, I got to get a new one. That looks terrible. You know? So why buy it in the first place?
Yeah, so just don't even buy it.
Don't even buy it. Just walk past it.
Okay, so to find that balance, how do you find that balance? If you have, let's say, one person in the home is the spender and the other person is the splurger, how do you find the balance?
Well, I think communication would be key there, obviously. And then you are going to have to look at your bank account.
Yeah, I think the budgeting is key.
I mean, that's just it. If you don't have the money, then don't spend the money.
Well, I haven't told a lot of people, when we were first married, we got home from our honeymoon the very next day. I started working for Dave Ramsey. He's kind of a financial guru, and I only worked for him for a year. But that first year of marriage, being set up and educated on how to approach things financially, I really feel like was a huge blessing for our marriage. But
it helped a lot.
He talked a lot about the importance of assigning every dollar to a spot. So if you can factor in what you are making that month, you know, go ahead and assign it to where it needs to go. And that helps you prioritize, okay, well, we have to have this much for rent or mortgage. We have to have this much for food and
pay
groceries.
Those things first, for sure.
Exactly. And so if at the end of the budget you don't have enough for a lamp, then you know what, stuff that money in like a little piggy bank or an envelope until you have enough to buy it. It's not worth going into debt over things. But you know, on the other hand, you've also got the concept he talks about, stuffitis, and how people, it's again goes to that idol. I think that the need to have stuff is this representation of that I've made it, or that I've got this certain status symbol. And I think that it's such a horrible facade, because in the end, none of that matters.
I think a pretty clear rule that I live by is, don't buy something that you haven't talked to your wife about first. Unless it's a Stretch Armstrong. No. I mean, there's a limit. Obviously, I'm not going to call and go, hey, there's a granola bar here at the checkout. Is it okay if I purchase this?
Well, yeah, because then at that point you feel like you're asking your parent for permission, and no spouse should ever be in that type of role.
You don't want to be, you know. But if it's reaching a certain dollar amount with a couple of zeros behind it, that's probably a discussion you should have, you know, and just go, hey, you know, I was thinking about this. Because, you know, she may have an idea, well, I was thinking about this, and you might have to compromise and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, definitely it's something you want to communicate to each other about, prioritize that. Again, it's like I said earlier, just check your motives. What's your motive behind buying? I don't think you should come home with a a nice new table saw, if your wife was thinking, well, I really needed curtains for my room, and I've been wanting that for a long time, and you just bought this thing, and you didn't talk to me about it. You're not putting us into debt, but still, it would have been nice to have known that kind of a thing.
I love that concept. To go back to the Dave Ramsey concept, I love how, you assign one person to do the budget. Whoever is the more detail-oriented or better with numbers probably should be handling the budget. But
since you had direct contact to the Ramsey, just leave it to you. No.
But I think the bigger thing is to, even if one person is doing the budget, you still have to check in and have like a weekly
that's right.
meeting to say, okay, well, this is what's coming up this week. No, you can't buy that $200 brisket because we've got this graduation party to go to.
Brisket?
We can't have brisket
anymore. I can't have brisket anyway. What are you talking? That's horrible.
That was mean.
That's just cruelty to animals.
Well, I hope that this helps you if you are kind of in that battle of saving versus splurging. Or I think that the big check mark is if you even have that doubt.
Yeah, maybe
that's where you need to explore the motive.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes you can talk to your spouse and you're like, there's this thing, and she goes, you got to get that. We need that. And then you're like, oh boy, now we're both on board. Nothing feels better than buying something when you're both on board about it.
Well, that case in point is your pinball machine.
Thank you.
He is a huge Rush fan.
Yeah.
Being a drummer, Neil Peart is, who modeled you, and helped form your drumming capabilities.
So when they announced we're releasing the pinball machine, my stomach sank.
Yeah.
This is going to be an expensive, and it's on the splurge side of splurge.
It's definite splurge,
but it is nothing that is necessary.
It is also a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
And that if anybody, in my opinion, because typically a big ticket item like that, I'm like, we don't have that budget. But I also knew if he doesn't get it, he may never get one.
Yeah.
So
without spending even more, because everybody's going to buy it and then tack on thousands of more dollars because you can't get them anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. And so then that's the life is short.
Yeah.
And it's worth the splurge. Yeah. And we traded in, I think, a family vacation for that. Mm-hmm. And or I think if we did a family vacation, we did something really
much smaller or much quicker.
And we used points for the hotel, So we
didn't stay at the nicest place.
Exactly.
It was like,
Exactly. So, and I think it was just for a quick weekend versus an entire thing. So, but we were able to find that
Rush.
balance.
Ruined my vacation while you went on all yours.
Oh, well, we were able to find that balance.
Yeah, that's right. And we talked about it.
We did.
We communicated, and I was surprised when I came to her and she went, oh, you just got to get that.
Yeah.
And it was just the greatest feeling, like, wow, thank you, and it makes you feel grateful for it.
Because I love you.
I know. So here's, I think, what you have to ask yourself, and this is going to be seemingly hypocritical, but check this out.
Okay.
We talked about why saving is better than splurging. Mm-hmm. But we also talked about why splurging is better than saving.
Yeah.
So, again, balance. Mm-hmm. So, therefore, because it's kind of both of those things that kind of hold in tension between one another, that you have to check your motive and you have to discuss those things in order to find out which one is better for this situation.
And I think if you don't have someone to discuss with, you need to find that person.
Yeah.
So it could be your parent or your sibling or someone at your church. So you should always have that kind of accountability, even if you do live alone.
Or us. I mean, you can ask us.
Yeah.
We're not just faces on the screen.
Yeah, but if you ask us if you should get a pinball rush machine, he's going to tell you yes.
Yeah.
So.
So go ahead and do it. Don't even ask. But You can ask us. You can get
we would be
through
honored.
your website.
Yeah.
Through comments here or whatever. I mean, you can say, hey, I have been having a struggle.
I always love when I get comments or people asking specific questions from something that I might have left out of the blog, and just being able to help, because that's why we put our entire project life on display, is to help you. So if it comes down to you're really struggling about a purchase, if it's a home decor or a DIY project type of dilemma that you're having, reach out to us. We are always happy to help you out. And we're always so thankful that you listen and tune in each week. So make sure to leave us a comment. Make sure to subscribe or give us a review on your podcast channel, because we would love to hear from you, and also come up with possible show ideas if there's a question that you need answered.
And not only is this a YouTube show,
yes,
but it's also something you can listen to through the other podcast, Amazon Music or Spotify, and all of that. I don't think it's iTunes anymore.
No, it's Apple Music.
Yeah. But you can listen to this or watch it.
That's
both ways.
So come back next week where we will have another episode of Your Home Renewed for you to check out.
See you later.